listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Why don't you text us on 8 12 15? Or you can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show directly through the Absolute Radio website. Maybe I should get that put on a sort of thing. I just press a button and it plays.
Yeah.
What, and a man says it?
Well, I'm happy to say it, but that way I don't have to say it.
Thanks for spoiling us.
Okay. So yeah, it was lovely. So hot yesterday.
Oh, it's lovely.
In southeast England.
Oh, it wasn't in the northwest.
Was it not? How was it up there?
Drenched, I got.
Oh, I love this weather chat.
Well,
Do you know, it was so hot yesterday, I undid the second button on my shirt.
Goodness. Starting at which end?
I'd rather not disclose.
Okay. I wore shorts. That's why I was rather relieved it was bad weather today. I thought me and Alan were going to come in something embarrassing, one of us.
Yeah.
But no, it's all right. I've got my suit on. But I did think what a great texting would be. What have you left out overnight and has thus been ruined by surprise rain?
Oh, yeah.
No, come on, sir. You know I can't read that out. But, yeah, I think it struck me because last night I had a last minute, I think I'm going to put those in. It might rain, even though it's been lovely and sunny. And today I felt like a hero.
Oh.
I'd saved so many things.
What was it?
What would you leave? What things do you leave out?
There was a first edition David Copperfield. I left on. It was on the lawn at about.
You have first editions scattered around your garden.
No, I was lying about that. I started them at my heroic rescue work. It sounded more dynamic than it was. It was actually a child's buggy who was out. But you know, it was. I rescued it. That would have been sodden.
Well done.
It would have
today. Okay. So, yeah, I'd love to know. Someone must have left something out that, interesting that's been ruined.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
sure.
Yeah. I just try and, I've never heard that phone in before on radio. It's good to try and have original thoughts.
It might be there's a reason for that, but it might not. It might just be...
When I came in this morning, the driver had Capital Radio on.
Did he?
And someone phoned in and said, I got what... They texted in, they said, I didn't get in till 4... from partying, and I've got to go to work this morning. And the guy said, "Well, God, good luck with that, and who knows, you might be looking for another job soon." And I thought, we're not perfect on our show, but that simply is not good enough.
I love that you have to draw a line somewhere. You're right, you do.
I think the whole station should cut out if things get that bad. Just cut out and go to silence.
I think what did you leave out last night, or save indeed, is a infinitely superior line of questioning.
Well,
I can't leave the bins out, you see, Frank, because the foxes get it and it looks like Glastonbury in my concrete patch.
Yeah.
But worse than that is bringing the bins in if they stink, innit? You've got to keep them in overnight an extra day.
Anyway, I think I'm getting early on this one. I'm starting to think that maybe Capital Radio sorted it out. I'm starting to think that maybe Lord Horse fascist taunting of the Allies was okay.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
May I say, by Jove, Mr. Skinner, you've stumbled on a fantastic text in for radio.
A rich vein.
Yeah. Change the radio world.
I think so. Make some room in your trophy cabinet, Frank, because you've revolutionised the face of radio. People have texted in.
They did say that about Lord Ha as well.
Nancy and Grace, aged 7 and 6, left their 6-compartment cardboard box train in the garden, and the sellotape is all peeling off the wet cardboard.
Was this last night? Or
sounds like it, or at least in the garden.
That's from Mrs. Tina Taylor.
Yes.
What is it? A 7-compartment?
6-compartment, please. Point to all the 6 compartments.
But there's a little incident where it could have been worse.
Yeah, true enough.
Look on the bright side.
It's a cardboard box train that they'd made, I think.
Are you out of your mind? Who makes 7-compartment cardboard box trains? Are you out of your mind?
It's a health and safety nightmare.
If they'd have had the cardboard, believe me, there would have been stuff. The nice thing about that, though, it's like British Rail. You can be absolutely down on your knees and all the sellotape's coming off, and then you can build yourself back up again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, go on, go to it. Let's have a new one. And hey, have you heard of Scotch carding?
What about 554? After finishing the stocks for the school fair, spelt F-A-Y-R-E.
Of course, that's how you spell fair.
Yeah,
isn't it?
love it. My husband's left his new electric circular saw out. It got drenched.
Oh, no. Would that survive, though?
Well, if you will make stocks on a Friday night.
Yeah. Is that bad luck?
Oh, yeah.
Making
I'm not a
stock
fan
on a
of
Friday
it.
night.
Oh, you'll be pilloried when they find out what's happened there.
And then Frank Jamie says, I ruined a pair of Crocs with foot sweat in Disneyland. I had to leave them outside the hotel room. They didn't get nicked.
You can't ruin Crocs with... They're waterproof.
What sort of an animal are you?
I think one could argue you can't ruin Crocs.
That's my point.
You started off from a fairly... I must say, having criticised Crocs for years,
Yeah.
I have taken to wearing them while I do my gardening. You know,
No.
my gardening.
So you wear a
Yeah.
suit and Crocs in the garden?
I've just said, if someone wearing Crocs, what kind of an animal are you? Answering my own question.
Well, yesterday I was wearing shorts, socks
Lovely.
and Crocs. Socks and Crocs
Socks
could be
and
a
Crocs.
whole new... it's sort of pithy, isn't
I
it?
tell you what it is.
He's a socks and Crocs kind of a guy.
It's a whole new specialist interest area for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any of those badges. That's what I want to get. You know those badges that people put on Crocs? Not
Oh,
on
yes.
socks. Do people put badges on socks? I'm not
No.
aware of
I've never
What are your
noticed
socks
badges.
like, Frank?
Well,
Are they black?
footballers.
Well,
Black calf length, I'm thinking?
What they were red and blue hooped, but short.
No, shorties.
They were ankle based. Actually, on the badges front, I went for dinner at TGI Fridays.
Oh, how affluent.
Week. Yeah.
Throwing it
And,
about. Now you're on Doctor Who, aren't you?
Well, you know my sister's got a shop which is 1974 down her road.
yeah.
I've got one that's 1991 down mine, so I went there.
I go there sometimes, to be fair.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know about your branch, but the branch I was at, they weren't wearing the multi-badge
Oh.
thing. You know the
I've never been in there. I've
You've
no
never
idea.
been
what
in there.
any
Well,
of the
don't get all
subdivision-
snooty about it. Then you can't even.
Get all Lord Snooty with us.
Yeah, about it. Don't even know what it's like.
I don't know what it's like. It's
tell
a
you
whole
what-
new world you're describing to
I
me.
tell you what it's like. It's not
Tell
what
me.
it's like. It's not what it used to be.
no.
That's
The one
helpful.
I went in. The one I went in was Song Wacky.
Was it?
You know, they used to be really wacky.
They're gone restrained now.
They'd come over covered in badge. They used to wear those shirts.
The braces as well on the front.
Yeah,
Frank.
they used to wear shirts like Bully wore on Bullseye. You know, that red and white
Yeah.
striped shirt.
I would have liked that.
Yeah, they wore that and braces. And used to have lots of. And they'd come and say, "Hey, how are you today? Feeling good?" And they'd sort of be mixing
I don't like
cocktails.
That bit, I think, would make me feel a bit queasy.
I know. I don't think you'd like it, but I used to find it uplifting.
It was a bit personality disordered, but
I used to
you know.
think, oh, this is what youth was like. One was like this all the time.
They were
A
into. They used to
bully.
sell the cocktails heavily.
Yeah.
Didn't
Right.
Whereas this guy came over to me and said, "Look, I know this is a bit weird, but have you ever tried a sweet potato fry?"
Oh,
And I
What did you say?
it's not that weird these days.
I don't know. I don't know if I have or not. But not. I said to him, "Look, I have not." In the end, when he'd pushed it, he kept on. No, I know, but they are really nice. I know you wouldn't think they'd expect them to be nice, but they are really nice. And I thought, why would anyone be put? What kind of commission service is based on sweet potato?
Yeah.
And in the end, I said, "Look, I have not come in here to eat healthily. I want the ordinary fries, please, and the cheeseburger, and obviously I started with ribs. You have
Gam
to.
with ribs.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
Started with a rib.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's how actually God described the creation of woman. If I remember in the Bible. You know the Bible.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I was just about to tell you that the what you've left in the garden texts continue.
Good.
Hi, Frank. We left our tortoise, Phoebe, in brackets,
They're waterproof, aren't they?
out in the garden last night. Just fetched her in. She had a big slug on her shell.
Oh, wowza.
That's from Yvette in West Brom, who's a regular texter, but
You
obviously...
sure that she just hadn't been to an Elvis lookalike? Animals do. And that was her quiff.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the last bit I jumped
It's
in?
Yvette in West Brom. She's a regular texter, so it
Good
could
old.
be that this show's been a civic duty today. You've said, what have you left in the garden? And they've gone, oh, the tortoise, we should get...
Oh, yeah,
So-
I could have said that tortoise could have drowned.
Well, the slugs could be all over
I'm
it.
thinking, having watched the World Cup, if you could get a big carapace, you know, the technical name for the shell, and squeeze Alun Shearer into it, he'd make quite a good tortoise look like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if he sorted that in, when the fancy dress season is upon us.
Yeah, or a bit of panto.
Little tip if you're listening, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
William David has tweeted us, how do I join you? Would you care to answer that, Frank? How does he join us?
I think he's accidentally he's trying to call the Tofty Club for road safety advice.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got... Tofty Club is the... No, I'm not going to go there.
No, don't.
No, I'm not.
It's good to hear you reverse out of a joke.
I feel just listening, you join us. That's what I feel, because now you're part of the family already, because you've been read out and everything.
Yeah.
Not that you have to be read out to be part of the family. You understand. Did I ever tell you about when I worked with a tortoise and I had to do a publicity picture of sort of holding it as if I was going to kiss it right next to my
absolutely
face?
Disgusting.
Yeah, and it was the first time I realised that because they're reptiles, cold-blooded by nature, the breath that comes out of their nostrils is icy cold.
Is it? That's like me.
Quite a handy thing to have in the car.
Yeah.
Keeps them in the car now.
Keeps them in the car, just do under the armpits and back of the neck.
When you get to your gig.
And then back in the glovey with it.
Al saves on the aircon as well in those summer months.
Fantastic.
Well, if you had,
Hang on, I'm just going to order some.
If you had 6 of them across the back sill, like nodding dogs,
the
car wouldn't get hot in this weather when you got in. It'd be like the aircon had been on, but no fuel had been used.
Lovely little tongues.
We didn't get that far. That is disgusting.
That was a first.
But they're all right, I must say. So, the reason I was at TGI Fridays, you're all wondering, is I was at TGI Fridays at the O2 Centre.
Oh.
Because I went to see Monty Python live.
Oh,
this
lovely.
Week,
Oh, yeah.
which was quite...
I say lovely, I'm not a fan, as you know.
Well, I have to admit, I was one of those... It's now the definition of a pub bore, is I was one of those people who used to recite large chunks of Monty Python. I mean, I thought you'd come to complain about the Berserky, but no, I am one who delights in all manifestations of the Terpsichorean muse. Sorry? I like a nice tune, you're forced to. I used to do like 10, 15 minutes of that.
I'm really glad I didn't know you then.
I'm just giving you an example of what it must have felt like for the other people. But I always thought it was great.
Absolutely ill.
Yes, but I was recreating a moment.
Did you really do that?
I honestly did do it. Mm-hmm. I was that soldier. As Max Bygrave said on the end of A Deck of Cards when he covered the famous Wink Martindale hit.
Can I ask a question? How are the faces holding up?
Well, I wouldn't say they were holding up.
Have they collapsed?
They look like old
okay.
men. Mm-hmm. You see, I'm particularly interested in Terry Jones.
Yeah.
Because Terry Jones is one of the Celebrity Old Dad Club.
Oh, yes, of course he is.
And I'm always keeping an eye on the Celebrity Old Dads to see how they're holding up. I'll come back to this.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Aren't tortoises?
Shall we start this bit again? Ton Cordial, is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. No, Ian Angle has texted in, who's a regular, and he said, aren't tortoises always sluggish?
Yeah.
Because they're slow. They're always sluggish.
Right. Once again, Ian Angle is right. And not only is he right, he's right in quite a sort of clever, wordy way.
Funny. And someone else is saying you should have gone with the sweet potato fries, Frank. What a taste sensation. That's
really? I missed my chance.
Yeah. Well, not forever. But you were at the
There'll
O2.
be other chances. You can always get tables at TGI Fridays, to be honest.
Well, I don't know if
in my limited experience.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. Charlie, our AP, as we call her, assistant producer, is that your official title, Charlie? Yeah. Was saying that people who work at TGI Fridays call their badges their flair. How much flair have you got on today?
Oh, really?
Yeah, what about that? Well, these guys were flair-free.
Oh, no.
Flair-de-free. They were. So, yeah, it was... So, yeah, Terry
Jones.
Terry Jones, I don't know, I mean, I'm not one to, I'm not one for tittle-tattle, but you may know that Terry Jones had a child when he was, I think, 67. His wife, his girlfriend at the time, was 26.
Lovely.
Yeah. I always remember reading her previous boyfriend had been 24 or something. I always thought, did Terry, on their first night together, take his shirt off and say, and no for something completely different? Yeah, so he's an old dad. He looked, I would say he looked the most exhausted of
Really?
the troop.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe there's a lesson there for us all. But I have to say, I cried at the Lumberjack song. I don't mean in laughter.
Did you?
I mean in sheer nostalgia and whimsy.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was very strangely emotional.
Did they do the parrot thingamajig?
Oh, they did the parrot thingamajig.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Did they?
Painting for the fjords? What kind of talk is that? They did that.
Absolutely horrible.
Here's a question for you. Do you ever get Terry Jones mixed up with Tom Jones?
No.
It's not unusual.
Okay. I asked that question because are you aware of a company called TJ Hughes?
Is it
Why does every anecdote you tell involve TG or TJ?
Well, this is it. Well, that will make sense in a little while. TJ Hughes, do you
Is
know
it
that
a department store?
Yeah, it's a sort of a department store. When TK Maxx was in America, that's called TJ Maxx. Do you know that? And when they moved to England, they thought, we better change that, or else everyone's going to get it mixed up with TJ Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think maybe the Americans got a slightly mixed up view of how massive TJ Hughes was in the public's consciousness. So they then changed it to TK Maxx to avoid that confusion.
I love your retail gossip.
Yeah. I think it's a very...
Is this the stuff you've picked up from running Gap or Next or whatever it is?
Yeah, I did run Gap. Well, I actually had the idea for Gap, if you remember.
You didn't, Alan.
What do you
has
mean?
he tricked me?
Oh, shut up. Anyway, it was very brilliant, except for one thing.
Oh yeah, your seats.
Every now and again, no, the seats were good. We were in a box.
Lovely.
But every now and again, a man as a kangaroo came on stage, dressed as a kangaroo, and jumped about. And I think it was supposed to be wacky and random. Didn't get one laugh all evening. But it was written so he had to keep coming back on.
Oh, Death of a Thousand Cuts.
Yeah, and it was. And I know that feeling when you've planned a joke to happen 6 times in something, and the first time it happens and it dies completely, and you think, oh no, I'm trapped.
Yeah.
Trapped in an endless spiral of non-laughter, as they say on Capital. And and he kept coming back, this guy. It was... I can't tell you how... On one level, brilliant, but every now and again you'd think, oh, that was a really funny sketch, and you'd hear... and on would come the man, and it would be just... hell on earth. But other than that, it was a brilliant and moving evening.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
The embarrassing kangaroo thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know my terrible traumatic evening at the Brits when I hosted the Brits and it didn't go that well.
I thought you wouldn't mention that again.
Yeah, I mentioned it.
I've heard tell of it.
Yeah, but one thing that
I watched it.
I've never said is that my original plan for the Brits was to go on dressed as Jerry Halliwell. I had the platform boots and I got them to make me a mini dress, Union Jack mini dress, and I was going to do the first link as Jerry Halliwell.
Would she have been dressed as you, or...?
No, she wasn't involved.
All right.
No. It was Zoe Ball he was with.
But I lost my nerve at the last minute, because I thought that it's one thing to die, because one has a sense of death when you do the Brits, before you do it.
Yeah.
But to die dressed as Jerry Halliwell, that would go down in showbiz, those shots of me, in my pathetic face, dressed as Jerry Halliwell, so I lost my nerve. So it could have been... One thing that it's never said about that night at the Brits, it could have been worse. Interesting. Do you remember when Colin Jackson and Erin Bogue danced with dummies on.
Oh yeah.
They had a bit of an idea that if you, those dummies that they strap
I
to
say,
your
very
feet.
impressed that you remember Erin Bogue.
Yeah, Erin Bogue. Well, she's probably one of the better dancers, don't you think? But she hasn't. 'cause
Voice
she
of
hasn't,
controversy over there.
she doesn't have the inherent glamour. She hasn't got the publicity that some of you might say the less gifted have got.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all about coloured hair. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, they danced with these dummies on, and it went very badly. The judges said you've ruined all your good
ruined
work.
Judges hated it.
And they had to take this stick, standing there with these two
the dummies.
stuck
Which
to them.
was sort of attached to them, sewn to them.
Yeah,
What,
so
like emus standing
Yeah.
next to them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dear,
no.
it was a very awful moment. But of course, like so many awful moments, also brilliant.
Did they...
In fact, it was a definite sense of about the whole thing.
Did any of them have the joie de vivre to pick up the hand of the dummy and just make it rub its own eye as they were getting the bad feedback?
Like, take its head in its hands. No, as I say, it was Colin Jackson and Erin Bogue.
Good point, yeah.
It's not Morecambe. Did you think I said Morecambe and White?
I wish they'd done that in the manner of the News Bunny on live TV, if you remember him, who'd react to atrocities by shedding a tear.
Yeah, that was they lost their confidence in that quite early on, didn't they? Which is probably a good idea. I'll tell you what, I had a man in this week.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you very much. I try everything in life. I say. No, I had a few little jobs. So,
all right.
The odd loose door handle, that kind of thing. Not things like maybe I could do myself if I got a manual.
Who is your man?
You were locked in a toilet recently, so you probably want to be careful about the door handle.
He's your equivalent to Victor, my Lithuanian, isn't
Is
he?
he?
Mm.
I don't know. You're Lithuanian, but
Okay,
I
I'm
like,
just saying
I
he's your
like,
version of
I
that.
like the sound of him. Yeah, he came round, and what it was is that we've got a table in the downstairs part of the house, like a coffee table. It's a biggie. And Kat says, why don't we swap that with the one upstairs so we've got more room in our normal living area, have a smaller one. I said, OK, I'll ask the man. So he
What, you have to ask him for approval on
no,
furniture
I
moving?
wanted to ask him to move the
This
furniture.
guy's too big for his boots. I don't know him. But
Well, he wasn't big enough to carry the table on his own. He tried, but it was awkward.
Oh no!
And there was that moment where the obvious thing was for me to say, well, come, I'll give you a hand.
Oh, don't tell me you didn't.
And I thought, well, I don't know if I'm of an age now where I can...
Oh, fine.
That
you worried
kind of-
that you were going to act like a python and just sort of wobble about. and
Yeah, I just thought I might
people
do
would
my
cry.
back. I thought I might do my back. That is what I thought.
So you let your mother-in-law do it?
No, so I said I'll just leave it there. So it's still there. It's a terrible age moment when I thought it would be ridiculous for me to try and take this on. The risk isn't
How
worth it.
big a table are you talking about? That
Well,
two people couldn't have got it
Yeah,
up.
but I've got quite a bit of TV coming up. I can't risk a back injury. It was a terrible... It must be like that moment when a French woman walks into a shop and she's been called Mademoiselle her whole life, and she finally gets called Madame.
Oh.
It was like that. I just thought, yes. When you have to say no to helping with the table up the stairs, you know that... you can hear the shovel hitting the soil, as they say.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Is it like a heavy wood, the table? Is it like oak?
Yeah, I tell you what, it was more... It was sturdy. It was quite a heavy table,
Right.
but also it meant a lot of squeezing around corners and had to be raised up.
Oh, I hate that. That's
I think it was Jerry Halliwell who said, "Lift me up." The table was sort of saying that in a similar
Are you
way.
feeling haunted by the Brits today?
Haunted
Somewhat.
by the Brits? A novel by Beryl Bainbridge. I don't know why that's come up again, but there we have it. So yeah, it was the way I didn't even try. I actually I did say to him, I suppose I could give you a hand with it.
No.
And then I said, no.
Oh,
No.
you can't mention that and then reverse back out of it. I
No.
thought you just,
Well, I think I took a sensible decision. Is what I
Yeah,
did.
yeah. That's good. And you're here to tell the tale.
I said
It's
to him,
not impeded
I
on
said,
any of
look,
your
I'm
work."
sorry, I've got key man insurance. Anyway,
You need to talk to David Baddiel about that, Frank.
What's
That's
that?
what you know in that I've never drinking game. I know you won't approve, but we have played it before.
Okay.
And David's I've never is I've never genuinely taken my share of the weight when carrying an object.
That's very, very good.
Yeah, I won't tell you his other I've nevers.
No. No, I remember fantasy football. It was a joke. I don't mean it was a joke, I mean... Oh, anyway. So, that's a very good I've never, though.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I put it right up there. It's a question for you.
Yeah.
What time... it's not an early start by, the working person standard. But
Yeah.
we have to start the show at 8. We get in about 7.
Mm-hmm.
What time do you set your alarm for on a Saturday morning, usually?
5:45.
5:45?
Charlie,
Okay.
producer at AP, rings me at 5:30.
Oh, I see.
I get an early morning call.
So you get a call at 5:30, and then your
Yeah.
phone got your
My alarm goes
at
off 5:45,
So
yeah.
you've got what happens in those 15 minutes?
I'd rather not disclose.
Oh God, that tortoise. Of course, it doesn't have a chance to get away.
True enough.
Not in 15 minutes.
Me now,
Yeah.
6 or 6:05, depending, or
6?
sometimes maybe even
6:05, you're sailing
depending on,
close to the wind.
depending on how close I am to
This-
to
6:05.
here.
You see, there's 6:05 or 6:10. You get called at 6:30, and then yours goes off at 6:45.
5:45.
Me? 6:03. Because it's recently struck me. Why do I have to be a slave to the tyrannical 12ths? You know,
Right.
the 5 past, 10 past, quarter past. Why? I thought I'd never setting my alarm again on one of those. So I've gone 6:03, and when it wakes up every morning, I start by thinking, bit of a rebel. I start
Yeah,
every morning. It gives you that feeling that I'm a bit of a different thinking guy.
and it comes on to Rebel, doesn't it? Your radio alarm.
Hey,
every
Frank,
day.
what if we extend this? You could extend this into society, social engagements.
Yeah.
Put it on invitations. Come at 7 and
Yeah.
22.
Yeah, why don't we fight
Yeah.
that thing, the oppressive 12ths?
See, my mum prefers odd numbers to even numbers, so I would almost always... I've kind of got that ingrained in my head, so I would almost always... If I was setting my alarm for 6 in the morning, I would usually put it at, 5:59 or 6:01.
Oh, don't start claiming that you do that. Having admitted it was 5 past and 10 past. I know you're trying to get on the erratic
enough.
timing bandwagon. You make me sick.
Don't try and be a colourful character like him.
Yeah, I mean, come on, don't make it that obvious.
If I'm obvious, I prefer the 5s. If I'm honest, I like the 5s better.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do that, Frank. You know what it is for me from now on? 547. That's what I'm going to go
Okay,
for.
good on you. And if I make a cardboard train, it's going to be 5.5 compartments. Crazy.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show through the Absolute Radio Webby.
The Webby.
The Webby.
Disgusting.
Good look on the Webby.
Absolutely disgusting.
It's really street, isn't he? He's really talking
Yeah.
to the youth.
Oh, you
No.
got
Hey,
you.
hey, can I
Hey,
tell you what we
hey,
haven't
I
talked
hear you.
about
We're
is
doing all the vowels.
Andrew Murray. I'm calling him Andrew Murray because I think he needs to do an Andrew Cole and
Oh, do you
change
think
it from
so?
Andy. Well, it affected him in a fabulous way, didn't
Yeah,
it?
it really helped his career, didn't it?
But he got knocked out, didn't he?
He did
In front of the Royals. How embarrassing.
He got short shrift.
Yeah.
Kate was there in lace. Wills had his ball patch, but don't judge. He still turned up.
There were I could see lots of things where she was chatting to him and he seemed to be looking in the opposite direction.
Oh, I think there's trouble at Mill.
That started quite early.
As my mother would say, trouble in the wings, dear.
Oh, yeah. What a bad day they picked to go as well. They thought,
Yeah.
this will be great. We'll be if the really exciting win.
the glamorous one.
And there wasn't even any high bits, was there? It was just he was hammered.
But apparently, well, no, I don't think he was hammered.
Wasn't he?
No.
I don't mean he was hammered.
Although that would have an impact on his tennis,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well,
Apparently, there were a few shouty, screamy incidents, as I believe Hugh Grant calls it, shouty, screamy, on just moments before.
Well,
The
some
word
of
on the street Sorry, Al.
Well, some of the words, some of the words in the changing rooms are particularly Scottish, I would say. Some of his dialect.
Some of the words I can
Quite
tell our
fruity.
listeners will not be mentioned.
No.
There, so you can take your hands off your child's ears.
It was fruity language.
Yeah.
He said 5 minutes before the Category C swear word match was what he was heard to
Yes,
shout.
5 minutes before the match he shouted.
So what was he referring to?
Well, I've got
What's your
a theory.
Go on.
I think...
Can I say, if he was a more interesting man, he'd have said 4 minutes before the match. But of course he was one of the oppressive 12ths got to him.
No.
I bet it wasn't exactly 5 minutes, but he's gone straight into the nearest
He
slot.
likes odd numbers.
So
It's like my mum.
conservative. Oh man! Why don't you just run with the herd?
I think someone suggested playing a 6-minute long song, and he was like, 5 minutes before the match!
Oh, do you think it was?
I haven't got time to listen to Stairway to Heaven right now. Poor example. I don't know how long
Brilliant
Stairway to
impression.
Heaven
I have
is.
to say,
I think
fantastic.
What, with his
It's
Yorkshire accent?
It's Colshorian.
I think what happened was I'm just saying maybe his opponent they're in the dressing room. There's a gents there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he didn't leave things fragrant.
Oh.
He said 5 minutes before the match.
Do you think the opponent walked out of the toilet and went, I'd give that 10 minutes if I were you?
That's what
And
I
he
think.
went,
Al.
5 minutes before! Whatever it was, there's a maths problem.
Unless
isn't
it was
there?
a really interesting opponent, and we should have said, "I'll give that 9 minutes." If I were you. I think wasn't all this basically? I'm playing a bit rubbish today, so I need to blame somebody.
No, it's the opposite. Everybody else is saying, we
Yeah.
heard him shouting, and him and his coach,
He won't have
Maresmo, are saying,
Oh, I love
no,
it, you know
it's
the
just a
names."
bad day at the office. We're just...
I know they are, but you know when you get actors who get
Yeah.
their lines wrong, and they say, they get it wrong. They say, "Can you not stand in my eye line?" By the way. Because you're just putting me up and it's nothing to do with.
Or
And then they'll
Christian
get it wrong
Grale.
again. I can hear someone talking. Someone talking somewhere. And it's always blame everyone except. So I think he was doing a bit of that. Didn't he tell his?
He shouted it at the box.
Didn't he tell his mother to?
Well, he shouted at the box. He said a variation of "shut the front door."
Yes.
Yeah.
I should think Judy shut the front door years ago.
Well,
But you don't. It's not, I hope he was not speaking to his mother. That's an absolute
No.
disgrace.
Well, there's
I
theories
like
that it
what
was
you
to...
just said.
There's theories that it was to his coach or to his girlfriend, Kim.
see,
isn't it?
but
I see,
Alan,
I
what
miss
about
this.
old
Alan,
Ma
what?
Murray?
Alan, what?
Old Ma Murray went missing in action.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was watching her other son.
But that was a different day. And
No,
he
same
was,
day.
No, she was same day. She was at
She
the
missed the
doubles.
first set.
but he'd
of
already
Andrews.
joked about that the day before, or the match before.
I know, and then she went. And
Wow.
did
she
But
was-
to be fair, the other brother, I mean, it's tough being the other brother.
Oh, it is
he
tough
deserves
for
a
the
bit of
other brother,
motherly
yeah.
love, for goodness sake.
Definitely,
Doesn't
yeah.
Andy get enough attention?
He does.
But I don't think you should be shouting stuff like that. It's not acceptable. I never heard that. I mean, you shouldn't be using the bad words in front of us. Children in the audience.
True.
it. The audience.
And the royals.
The audience.
And the royals.
Yeah,
were there.
you-
I mean, for goodness sake.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Could have been that the coach, Maresmo, suggested a new tactic, like really late in the day, like hold the racket at the stringy end.
Can I say you keep repeating that, Maresmo, because you're quite proud you know how to pronounce it.
It's not that hard, though, is it? It's not
Well.
like Descartes,
I know, but the standards are different.
It's a
depending
bit
on
like
what-
Gran Turismo, isn't it?
Weimaraner.
What? Oh, that
What?
hurts.
What was that mean?
That hurts.
Oh, come on, don't squabble. Do I have to reach into the back of the car and bang your heads together?
I did like the Murray story just because it kept using the word quarrel in newspapers.
Well, 'cause
He
one
had
of
a
the-
quarrel.
One of the rumours, wasn't it, was that him and Kim
Oh yeah.
had
Had a
had
row.
a bit of a falling out before.
And also one of his backroom staff might have said that he was leaving 5 minutes before. A quarrel.
There's many theories what the
Well,
5
there's a
minutes
lot of
before
theories.
is
What
all
about what old Ma Murray said? She said, "Form is temporary, class is permanent."
Yeah, I
Oh.
hate it when people say that's
I
what,
wish
I
she
think
hadn't
quite
said
the
that.
reverse.
I have to say that's what fools say.
I think she might have given the naysayers a stick to beat him with there, because he's
Yeah.
only won it once. As they
Well,
can
it's
go,
not
"Yep,
just
you're
that,
right.
but clearly form, yes, is temporary, but class, if you lose in straight sets, that sounds like that tends to come and go as well. It's not permanent.
Yeah.
So Judy's got. Maybe she should shut the front door. That's the kind of rubbish she's going to come out with.
Yeah.
I have to say, though, the Kim Sears theory, I
think of
had
that?
quite a big row with Kath this week about
no, what happened?
about biscuits. I won't go into it.
About biscuits?
But then I had to go immediately off and do a sketch with the one show's Alex Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think anyone would have picked up on it. You know, I just, at the end of the day, I put the blinkers on, I was professional. I wasn't up there shouting about it.
Really?
Yeah, none of that. I didn't get there and say 5 minutes before.
I'm so glad you said 5 minutes.
I said 4. I'll tell you something else I did this week. You know, when I always, whenever we have reported speech on here, that you guys, like everyone else in the world, say, and I said to him, and I always say, well, did you say oh? And then you say, well, no, I didn't. I actually left a message for Daisy, a phone message this week, in which I began, oh. And then I thought, Daisy will be able to say, oh, well, Frank phoned me, and he said, oh. And then she'll be telling the truth.
I sometimes delete a bad message.
Can you do
I've got
that?
to confess, I think I've probably done it to all of you. If I'm leaving a message and I don't feel comfortable with how I sound, I'll delete mid-message and re-record. I'll tell you after.
I don't know how to do that.
It's a good
sounds
tip.
amazing, though.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I want to learn. So let me get this right. I'm going to be editing and redoing my phone messages and then coming and doing 3 hours of live radio every Saturday.
Yeah.
I've got my priorities wrong.
Yeah.
We should edit this. It could be a decent show. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm guessing, obviously.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
It's not just Andy Murray that has been a competitor in sporting events this week.
I don't know where this. Who's it?
Your very own Cockerell entered the my son's sports day. They did like a dad's race. They did the dad's race.
Can I ask, was there money involved?
No money involved, and very little prestige. Certainly the way I did it.
Trophy? Was there a trophy?
Nope. And there was quite a lot of potential humiliation. I was sort of I was standing chatting to my wife and some other mums, and they were announcing,
I bet
what
you,
it is, class.
You know, when you get one dad there, God, they live it up.
Self-employed dad hanging out at the school
They
sports day.
take advantage.
Oh, man, on Yummy Mommy Patrol.
Totally. That's me. I'm bang to rights here. And they were announcing it, whatever it is, year one dad's race. And they went, you're going to do it? And I sort of went, yeah, all right. And now I'd gone to the children's sports day in
Can I say the Cockle had just completed 40 minutes of stretching behind a tree.
Oh, yeah. He's so competitive.
I'm not that competitive. I wish I was.
You are.
You're very lithe, though.
I was wearing chinos and some Adidas Originals trainers, no socks, Beckenbauer all-rounds for any trainer fans out there.
Beckenbauer all-round.
Size 10s.
What was on the what was on your trunk?
Just I think a shirt, possibly a short sleeve
Many
shirt.
of our listeners
nice
won't know that the Cockle's got a trunk.
Yeah.
Something that we never bring up. Touchy subject. Can't wear spectacles.
So they announced, the dad's you. And so I went, yeah, all right, I'll join in. Kept my sunglasses on.
Did you?
Oh, like Elvis doing karate.
exactly like that.
Brilliant.
Gave my wife my phone. I walked off to join the queue. Already loads of the dads are in the front line. So I literally had to stand.
So it's
I had
like
to stand behind other people. So I was in row 2.
It's like F1.
I was in row 2 at the start of a race.
F1
Like Grand National.
F1, as Kate said to William when she when he said, "What did Andy Murray say to you?"
Sadly, the start was less organised than the F1, where I think they do actually have a restart if there's a false
Can I
start.
ask a question? Did you you must have towered above the other...
No, there are other fully sized men there. And I'm not.
What
It
you
wasn't me
suggesting?
against the kids. I wasn't racing the pupils.
It's not the Willow Classic.
No, but he's got something of the... You're a bit of a Caucasian Usain Bolt.
I'm tall. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when we actually started the race, and my wife has some video footage of this,
Ah,
Right.
I put my
That
foot
comes out at night.
on the stripes, and I slipped and nearly fell flat on my face in front
Embarrassing.
of the entire congregation.
at the very beginning.
No, about a third of the way through the race, and then
How long was the race?
I don't know, 50, 60 yards, something like that. Not the full 100.
Okay.
But
I was thinking it was, I had a picture of 800 metres.
Oh,
No,
God,
did I?
no. Nobody's going to hang around and watch dads do that.
Yeah, but if you want to
Some
pull
of
a
them
muscle,
would perish if that was the case.
I mean, a sprint is the way to pull a muscle from cold.
When I slipped my foot in, I sort of staggered, and as you know, I'm sort of long-limbed, aren't I? So I'm a bit like a... And I can see it on the video of me kind of going, and my arms are out, so my bottom half looked like, when Inspector Gadget used to say, go, Gadget legs, and he'd stick them out really far. That was the bottom half, and above the waist, I looked a bit like Mr. Tickle. So just really long-limbed and ungainly.
Yeah.
And I actually think it would have been better to have just face-planted as I was running, just gone straight
You
down.
regain balance,
I've
though.
often thought that. I have to say,
Oh, it was awful.
I filmed with Peter Purvis once, and I must have told this. We were playing
Thanks for the
football.
tip.
He tripped. Peter Purvis. Yeah, I just got my syntax wrong. And he tripped playing football, and I mean, it felt like he took 40 minutes to go down, but it must have been like 8 seconds. But he was running when he was parallel to the ground. I'd never seen a man battle against falling better.
Good work.
He was absolutely, like, his face was like 18 inches from the ground, and he was still running. It was incredible to see. It's like a plough. And then he finally went down. It was really spectacular.
Did your parents ever come to Sports Day, Frank? Did you have Sports Day in Birmingham?
We did. We had Sports Day, yeah, but it's the sort of thing I didn't tell my parents what was going on at school. I didn't want them to get too involved in case they made me revise to any stage.
yeah.
So no, I kept that from them. I have started thinking now, though, that I am going to find myself in this position. Am I not?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking. Our boss is not going to be at school proper for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I could employ an international coach.
Yeah. But you really could.
No, I genuinely could.
And you know what? He would.
Have secret training. And what about that?
Secret
Great.
training.
I'm honestly seriously thinking about it. Hold on. I'm just going to look up Akabusi's number in my phone book.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
I mean, to be honest, if I'd realised I was going to run in the Sports Day, I would have worn my Adidas Mundial team with the sort of little pimples on the bottom, like the five-a-side trainers. They would have been ideal for that kind of surface.
Yeah.
But I just didn't anticipate that I was going to get involved.
Surprised. I'd have worn my spikes.
Oh, would you?
What about if you'd casually turned up in your spikes and they said, I didn't realise there was a dad's rain?
Well, when you've got your tutor, your personal trainer, of course.
Yeah,
like
like a
a
When
little-
Akabusi's on the case.
I'll turn up in dark glasses and listening to music in a tracksuit.
The other thing
Chewing gum.
that happened this week was that I went to the school assembly, and it was great.
Sure you're not posing as a schoolboy somewhere. You're in the
It's,
sports and you went to school
Just to watch
assembly.
Cockerell Jr., Little Lord Fauntleroy,
Okay.
and it was great. But
Is that what he was? What was
Were you
the
the
nature?
Were you the only adult there?
No, there was all of us. All
Was
the
there any?
parents. It was
Was there
about-
any?
All of us.
Was
The
there
whole
any?
gang.
Was there any? Was there any religious content in the assembly?
No.
Here we go.
Oh,
God, no.
Not even a Magnificat.
God no, being exactly the right thing to say.
I love me a Magnificat.
If we wanted religion in his school assembly, we'd probably have sent him to the other schools round the corner, the ones that have the big crosses in the playground. Those ones.
the other
So what have you gone to, Alistair Crowley High?
Oh, no.
I don't know what that means. What's Alistair
He was a
Crowley?
famous Satanist.
Frank.
Anyway,
They've got a cross, but it's upside down, of course.
they did this little assembly on the rainforests and the ecosystem, and let's all recycle and stuff.
God,
Oh.
it's all
It was great.
Talk about their school kids.
It was nice.
Adults have got completely bored with the whole ecology thing.
Yeah.
Nobody really recycles anymore.
True.
I don't believe in it anyway.
It's all lip service, but kids, they love it.
They do love it.
They love
They
a
do
bit
love
of climate change.
I'll tell you
Or
something.
if there's a project to be had, you get to cut out polar bear, stick it on the wall.
Yeah.
I was a bit distracted though because they sang a song.
Why, some of the yummy
And I'll-
mummies?
No. Player's gonna play. Anyway,
Absolutely
you started
repellent.
that. You started that.
Repellent creature.
They sang a song and they played it on like the screen off YouTube which
Oh, you get a screen these days.
is also a slightly saddening thing, because then you get to see the timeline at the bottom of it, and you can see, oh my god, we've only done one chorus, and there's still...
always a mistake.
And then at the end they went, oh, let's do the song again. So you get to see it all. But it was good. But it sort of went, and I'll try and do an approximation of the chorus. It was something like...
I'm looking forward to this.
Rainforest. It was something like that.
Sounds like Bob Dylan.
I'll tell you what, I spent the whole assembly thinking, is that a Nick Cave cover? Are the kids doing Nick Cave covers? It sounded really like Nick Cave.
Rainforest.
Did he do any Nick... That's today's texting on 8, 12, 15. Did Nick Cave do any rainforest-based songs?
Rainforest. Rainforest.
I want to save the rainforest.
No.
Oh, it
wasn't that.
It wasn't that
We
one.
could sit through every song
I
you
thought I was
remember.
onto something there for a minute. But I've been shot down
You've
in
got to
flames.
sit through it. It's like when I did my gymnastics display to Salt and Pepper's Push It.
Did ya?
Yeah. I'll be creative for you now.
No wonder
Yeah,
you were late. No wonder you couldn't get up this morning after that long.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I think maybe, I'm just saying, we should have a you-know-what, Frank.
Email corner.
I only really just noticed the drumming on that. Is it tabla? Is that what they call it? That,
Is it?
Oh.
It's very lovely. So, are they? You can hear something 1,000 times and then find something new.
I
It's
thought
like
like
people.
that about rainforest, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
We've had an email in from a character calling themselves 695.
Okay.
Dear team.
Nice.
He then gives us some praise, which
Yeah,
I'll
we'll leave that out.
decline to read out.
Thank you for it.
I'm a newish listener, and I've been working my way through the podcast library of humour. Immortalising Skinner. I heard your theory on longshore drift / tidal action as a Skinner, but you had denied it.
Yeah, I should
So you
briefly
want to-
summarise
yeah.
this. I was on the beach, and it's that thing when you stand on the beach sometimes, and the sea goes in and out, that you feel like you're moving and the sea is static. So I said I suspected there was not a name for that phenomenon.
Yeah.
So I claimed it as the Skinner effect. Then it turned out there was a much more, sort of long-winded, rather dull name, but
Yeah.
too late. I'd missed my chance. But I feel like I'm in with a shout now for another...
695 has an alternative suggestion. However, I would like to name something after Frank. I don't know whether it has a name, but my children have now adopted... That's it. No. This as a Skinner. When you buy 4 bread rolls, which are joined together...
I like it so far.
When you pull a roll away, you get a thin piece of bread that becomes loose, but usually sticks to one of the rolls.
Yeah, I think
I've
I
named
know
this
that.
a Skinner. We argue over who gets these.
Really?
If Emily is ever near Cambridge and fancies sampling Skinner...
I like the fact he
Really?
mentions his kids and then hits you with a nice move in the same email.
But people
Legend.
say, don't they, that kids is one... I was told this before
Oh,
I
yeah.
had a child, that
Go on.
it's one of the great, pulling things is to
Is
have
it?
a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't find the smell of urine is that attractive to a lot of people, but anyway.
What do you think of these bread rolls then, Frank?
Well, I'm sort of half aware of that phenomenon of the ragged piece of white bread, but I've never really identified, which is what all the best observations are about, of course.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for those to be called Skinners, because they do look a bit like the inner dermis of the
There's
rolls.
some detritus. Shouldn't it be something skin-based, though, like a little bit of loose skin next to your nail or something like that?
No.
No. All
Right,
right.
so I'm happy with it
I'm
being...
being too literal.
I'm happy with it being bread-based.
Fine.
Bread is, let's face it, a fascinating topic at the best of times, all right?
Not in my house.
You know when you get a sliced
I think you'll
loaf...
find it's a banned substance in my house.
If we'd switched to the food programme on Radio 4 now...
But
is that-
I've long been fascinated by the when you get the bubble in the sliced bread. You know that you have a slice.
Well, the whole?
Yeah, well, you have a slice and it's just a tiny indentation, and then 4 slices further on, it's a fully fledged. It looks like a little
yeah.
handbag. You get a slice that looks like a handbag. Oh dear, that's amazing. I made a sandwich once with one, and I
Congratulations.
I thought, well, I'm going to have to use the one with the hole.
What did you do then?
So
I throw those in the bin.
I
must
went a
say.
bit further down and found a fairly solid base. and I think it was a cheese and salad sandwich.
right.
And I put the one with the hole on the top, and I'll tell you what it looked like. If you can imagine lettuce, cheese and tomato looking through the rear window of an Austin A40. that was what it looked like.
It's a shame you didn't have a nice firm boiled egg in there. You could have put that in the middle, like on a gala pork pie. You know those?
Oh yeah, but it'd be lumpy, wouldn't it? I used to have cheese and Brussels sprout sandwiches, and they looked like they had myxomatosis. Not good.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're still in the corner, aren't we?
Oh, God.
The email corner. Morning, Frank, Emily and the Cockerel. My theory by the way, I think I requested months ago that most of the emails contained the something or other.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see that's finally being picked up on.
I'm happy with Ree.
Happy with a Ree.
I don't mind.
Oh, I love it.
Chris Rea I used to like as well.
Oh, yeah. Ree the Rea.
Just you, though.
Ree the Rea, I'd be worried to read that out. I've already had a pimply bottom, I think, during the talk of the sports day.
My theory, Ree, the high incidence of bad breath is that it's because people drink a lot more proper coffee these days.
That's true.
And it leaves a nasty after effect. All right-thinking people drink tea. Kisses, Jenny. Can I just say, I think I might be slightly in love with Jenny.
Oh, really?
Because she's put kisses and she's got a Ree in the thing, and she says proper coffee in inverted commas, which is a thing that I call it, and she's saying all right thinking people. It's my first crush on an emailer.
Fantastic.
My first ever. And my first snog was with a Jenny. There you go.
I don't want to know that.
Unfortunately, she's writing from a high-security prison. But, you know, nobody ticks every box, do they?
No. I'd be
don't
prepared to overlook that, I think.
I'm certainly with Jenny on the...
You're a tea man, aren't you?
I'm very much a tea man. I would be delighted to discover that coffee causes bad breath, because I think people need a warning. Because coffee is it is a seedy sort of. It's full of dark innuendo, isn't it? Coffee.
Can I be honest, Frank? I think you only drink coffee a little bit, just a little bit, to keep in with the cool crowd.
I try to keep up with you guys. I have it skinny. I have it decaffeinated. I'm barely touching coffee at all, but I just want to be part of the crowd.
I know you do.
But I do think that when someone says to you, "Do you want to come back for a coffee?" you think, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
I wish I was wearing cleaner underwear.
not ones that are from the market.
I wish I was wearing my matching bra and pants, and not odd ones, not just the first ones. I thought there's another day in this bra. You know, when you think that. But if someone says you want to come back for a cup of tea, you think, well, I'm safe here. This will basically be like an Ealing comedy.
Oh, you lure them in.
Yeah,
but it's like the gay best friend who turns out to be straight.
No, I'm not luring them. I think I am that nice, charming fellow with a nice cup of tea. You know, it's lovely. Coffee. Get lost. Also, what's weird about it, though...
Yeah, shall we meet for a coffee is a bit sleazy.
It is, definitely.
You're right.
Why not just say it? Whereas, fancy a cup of tea, it's all right, there you going. It's like that, it's nice, I think. Strangely, though, Sheriff Roy Coffee from Bonanza had got lovely sweet breath, whereas Mr. T smells like a compost heap. So, life doesn't always, it's not foolproof, these theories.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us on 81215. Many of you have. I hope more will. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show through the Abbey website. Abbey's what we call Absolute Radio here now.
Abbey?
It's a bit confusing, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people might think we're in some sort of monastic setup.
You wish.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Oh, I tell you what, old Chris Martin's, he's back on the meat.
Yes.
Well, I've heard some. I've heard some words, some descriptions for it, but for being single. But that's,
No, he's back on. He's back on the actuals meat.
Yeah.
Yes. Now I heard this because
Yeah.
I think he spoke to Steve Wright in the afternoon.
Oh, is he still on afternoons?
Did
I'll
he
make him
really?
sound like
No,
a
I think isn't
Is
his
that why
name?
that came
Isn't
out?
his name Steve Wright in the afternoon? I always imagine
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
he's actually called. He's hyphenated.
Yeah.
I like that we asked if he was still on afternoons, like he's a minor. Is he on nights?
Oh, Steve! I think Steve Wright will be in the afternoon forever.
Yeah.
Won't he?
I
Yeah.
know.
He's very fine.
The Big
Steve.
Show.
I like
So
Steve Wright.
he, Chris said to Steve Wright in the afternoon,
Hmm?
he said he admitted he'd taken up meat again. He said, I'd only eat something I could kill. I'd kill a fish, not a giraffe.
Yeah. It's
Does
funny
he
that you
mean
ruled
ki-
out giraffe.
Does he mean kill with his bare hands?
I believe he does.
Do you?
Yeah.
But the thing is, he
It's
said,
got a point if we all use that rule.
I don't
Let's
eat
live
something
on
that I
poultry.
could kill. Meaning, like, yeah, I'll have fish, even though I haven't killed it. It was hypothetical, wasn't it? I could kill it.
No, but does he mean I could physically?
That's what I think he could
Like
kill.
I can't eat
Yeah.
beef because I'm not confident I'll be able
Yeah.
to take a cow down on my own
Yeah.
if
That's
I
a
had
good
to.
point.
I mean,
Without
how
weaponry.
on earth would you kill a cow with your bare hands? I wouldn't know where to start.
No.
I'd punch it on the nose, see what happened. But that's
That's-
what
It's only going to startle it momentarily.
You know, sheep. I
What
don't
about
know.
a big strangle? You could
Yeah,
probably
can you imagine trying to
need
strangle a
long
cow?
arms. You'd have to get on its back.
Oh no, they got horns and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Have they?
What if they suddenly lay down?
Much
You
more
got a leg
aggressive than I
trap.
thought. I thought they were quite placid.
Well, not if you try to strangle them.
Oh.
I mean, they're entitled to defend themselves.
True.
All right.
And as regards the fish,
When did you turn into the cow's PR?
I eat a lot of tuna, and I don't think
Have you
I
ever
could
seen the
kill a
cow's
tuna.
PR?
Cow's PR.
It's like the cat's whiskers. I think
Oh, she thinks she's the cow's PR.
I think it's necessary to have a middleman for this kind of activity.
Called a butcher
Yeah.
or a hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I suppose he's saying if I felt I could actually physically kill one with my my
What about
bare
reality
hands.
TV stars then? I
thought
could
you were
kill
gonna
them.
I thought you were going to suggest
Kill
a
'em.
reality TV in which Chris Martin did a different species every week with his bare hands.
Oh, I'd love that. Cold Slay.
Imagine
very
like,
good.
when you're like 40 minutes into the show, all both covered in mud, like in some pit. Him and an elk,
Yeah.
both quite badly wounded. Oh man,
Ruby Wax in a ringmaster's jacket
Yeah,
announcing
yeah.
the winner.
I
Sounds
think
like good telly. We have to hope that the album sales decline and that he starts doing that.
Yeah.
That would be worth it.
I was sad to hear that he'd returned to meat.
Were
Oh,
you?
were you? Why?
Seems like an act of betrayal to me.
To Gwynny?
To Gwyneth.
I mean, full respect to Paul McCartney, he stuck with it.
He's really
Oh,
stuck
yeah.
with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they didn't consciously uncouple.
True.
They
No,
sadly
no,
passed away.
but he had the opportunity.
No, but this is what I'm saying. I think
After a suitable period, he could have started eating meat. No
Yeah.
one would have condemned him for that.
True.
But no,
Yeah,
he stuck
but
with
it's-
it. Whereas Chris Martin is a right fly-by-night.
Although you say that, but apparently Gwyneth Paltrow is not a vegetarian. Apparently it's one of
You're
the
not?
things that they say about her in the tabloids in order to make her seem more eccentric and sort of mad. But her cookbooks have got chicken recipes in there. That's not vegetarian. I mean, I'm no expert, but that...
completely mixed up. You're an expert on... I see you as our guinea pig correspondent.
Oh, yeah. Well, I spend a
Yeah.
lot of my time on the Goop website looking at what Gwynny's been saying, but
Well, I think meat is murder, as Morrissey said.
when are we going for brunch?
In fact, yeah, but I'm eating gluten-free nowadays. I also think wheat is murder. And I don't know if you're aware of my new restaurant, Sweet is Murder, which just sells desserts.
Oh,
Je suis.
God.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, come and join us.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about Christopher
Yeah.
Martin.
Christopher Martin.
He gave
Got
up
his
the
full
Christopher
handle.
Not Christopher Martin Jenkins,
No.
Yeah.
Christopher Martin.
He's,
and
he's back on the meat.
so he only gave up meat because of
Gwynny.
Gwynny, and yet you're telling me she eats meat.
I think she does. I think she...
Very confusing information we're getting
It
on the
is.
whole Martin setup.
But he's back on it. I like the fact that he's... I think maybe what it is that she eats what she considers to be healthy meat and doesn't eat much meat, and he's now going, Oh yeah, I was a vegetarian. Maybe he was a vegetarian for years.
I think he was in TGI's now. I can't think about it.
Yeah. Getting the big juicy burger.
No, he's working there.
turning down-
He got some flair.
I'll bet.
No, I suppose, the whole thing is, when they got married, I thought, well, they're both so famous, they don't need to marry a celebrity.
That's
but
true.
they're sort of married into different parts of celebrity.
Yes.
So, I suppose he gets invited to Robert De Niro's, is it dogfighting he's very big on?
Oh, yeah. He likes a dog fight.
They have dogfighting tournaments
The devil dogs.
up in the hills there. Mm-hmm. And that kind of thing. And I suppose she thought, music now, it's a
She
bit
gets
more...
a few tickets to Elbow.
Yeah, it's a bit...
Everyone's a winner.
It's a bit
Yeah.
cooler. Although I don't know how cool. He's sort of respected rather than seen as cool, I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
She needed to marry, say, Buster Rhymes.
Do you think?
I love that that's your idea of cool.
That'd be difficult though, because then her surname would be Rhymes. So she'd meet people and she'd say, "Hello, Gwyneth Rhymes,"
And
they'd
she'd say, no,
"With what?"
thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Rhymes with
What
what?
does Gwyneth rhyme with? Nothing.
He's going to
Nothing.
have his
It's like
problems
Orange.
with all his marital liaisons, really, isn't he?
What? He's going to end up back on me after them.
Yeah, no, Buster.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know what Buster's status is, but...
Part of an investigation you're making.
Maritally,
he loves a Courvoisier, either. I know that. He can't get enough, Buster.
true enough.
Yeah,
He wouldn't give up that for a marriage, would he?
he wouldn't do
No. Oh, no.
He'd do
No,
anything
nothing.
for love, but he wouldn't do that.
No.
I have a bad habit of eating corned beef
Do you?
slightly closer to my wife than is absolutely necessary because I know
wow.
she thinks it's disgusting.
Ah.
And she, in what I would consider...
Does she buy it in the weekly shop, or do you
No,
have to
no,
buy it?
I buy it. But
Oh,
in,
you
a,
have to go out separately.
in a
She's
That's all he asks for. Can you
she's
imagine?
staunch, isn't she?
in a retribution move, I consider, she wears a lip balm that she knows I find the taste of repellent. So when she gives me a goodbye kiss, sometimes she'll make eye contact and go, "Yeah, I've got that lip balm that you don't
What
like
flavour
on."
is it, and then? Black
It's
grape?
horrible. But I think if that was me, I would probably give up on the lip balm and just think, "Oh well, I won't do that," because my long-term partner for life has said that they don't like the taste of it. Why not just pick a different?
How long have you been together, you and Mrs. Cockrell?
13 years.
Lovely.
The fact that you know what her lip balm tastes like nowadays is it's a great testament to your love.
I find it a bit poignant, if I'm honest. The idea of you going out, I'll have some spam and a couple of Daily Express, please.
Corned beef.
Oh, yeah, is it corned beef?
But
Yeah.
speaking of spam,
Oh, yeah.
spam,
Oh, yeah.
spam. I'll just recite that. I'll put some adverts on first. See what happens. They go into this cafe, and there's a big
true.
list that's just all sorts of meals that
spam.
just have spam in them.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I have one more slight marital food confession. We
Oh,
discussed Chris Martin going back on the meat after breaking up with Gwyneth. My wife has started to take photographs of
Oh,
food
God.
that I've prepared for myself, and then send those photographs to her friend for them both to laugh at how basic and strange my food intake is. I'll give you my phone, Emily Dean. You can just scroll through.
Are you sure you want to do that?
When do you stop scrolling?
There's
That's the
like,
question.
there's like 5 or 6 in there.
Can you paint
And
us
they're
a
basically
picture?
basically a combination of
Are
leftovers.
you familiar with the
and-
painted Bruegel?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It's the sort of...
Medieval snack.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
compliment.
Yeah,
Okay.
some of
It's
them
the
do
sort
look a
of-
bit medieval.
Yeah, there's a lot of offal.
No,
Is
there's
what I'll
one.
say.
There's only one bit of offal actually, and that's the
That's an apple that's gone off.
Frank, would you
That
care
one
to
that
have
looks
a
like
look?
a kidney.
the one
And then
that
scroll through using
Really,
the,
it's the best
using
radio.
the scrolling function.
Wow.
see.
Yeah.
The one that is offal
We should
was.
say there's an egg with what appears to be tripe with it.
No, there was 3 boiled eggs with some leftover cauliflower cheese, which I ate cold.
What I do like is the one that looks like the leftover of the loaves and the fishes story from
Yeah.
the New Testament.
Yeah.
That is a kipper with about 3 pieces of cucumber on the plate. We had a slight argument about that because I felt that the dish wasn't completed. There was other salad to go on there.
Can I just say the chopped egg with fish is one of the most depressing sights I've ever seen. Partly because it's blurry. blurred egg and fish.
And the lamb chop with 3 beetroots looks like
That's actually a chicken leg.
chicken leg and 3. But it looks like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears post-nuclear attack.
Oh, is that beetroot?
We must post these on our thing.
I thought that was kidneys.
These are all dishes that I sat and ate happily. By the way, none of this was done for comic effect. It was just.
But now, the trouble is now it's like Ozzy Osbourne. He knows what people want. You're going to be thinking, oh, maybe I'll just go a bit wacky on this meal for a photo opportunity.
Well, every now and again, I have said to her, I'm about to eat this. Do you want to have a look at it for the photo? And
see what you're sold
and occasionally, and I'm not lying now, occasionally she's looked at it and gone, nah, that's too nice, I won't bother. It looks too normal.
So that's it, you'll feel that you have to go crazy.
Push the boat out and have weirder and weirder.
Next thing you know...
Push the gravy boat out.
Next thing we know, you'll be in Je Sweets.
Je Sweet.
With some blancmange.
You noxious sweets. But I'm still working on it. Je Sweets. Je Sweets is my...
That's the creepy bit.
Is my desserts-only restaurant, in case you're wondering.
Restaurant?
I'm about to... I'm working on. We're having meetings.
Meeting?
Well, we're actually having sweetings, we call them.
Sweet meetings. Yeah.
We are having some sweet meetings, but that's after.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We're going to sashay back, aren't we? Nice.
Email corner.
Slightly Gallic-sounding harmony there.
Yeah, I'm working on something a little I picked up in the Hebrides.
Oh, right. Dear Saturday Morning Entertainment, this is an email from Liam, prisoner 022.
Okay.
He's no Jenny to me, but whatever.
No.
Dear Saturday Morning Entertainment, long-term listener, medium-term reader,
I can see you and her
emailer.
with your hands together on the perspex. You know the perspex?
I can.
Me too.
That's always a moment, isn't it, in those films when they visit?
She wouldn't mind my corned beef breath, would she, Jenny? She'd be fine with it.
And they'll come round and they'll say, no touching. They do that.
Fine with that too. Last week you were discussing hotels subtly adding items to the bill when you take them away after you...
I'd love to do that with a cab driver.
After a stay.
Would a cab driver do that if I put my hand on the perspex?
Just turned around and made lingering eye contact.
Scene from Titanic in the car.
Sorry.
Yes, we were discussing hotels subtly adding items. This is when we were discussing whether or not it's fine to take magazines and stuff.
It's where the limit. We felt we could have shampoos and stuff, but magazines we thought were wrong.
I wasn't sure about that. I admitted that I have taken the wallpaper from a hotel. And when I say that, I mean the magazine, the wallpaper. I'm not that stingy.
Yeah.
That I'm taking the wallpaper.
I imagine if I bought your house when I got there, you would have taken the wallpaper.
Oh, yeah.
No, we've painted, darling.
Who's this character, darling? Appeared to be doing the show with Craig Revel Horwood.
He did one sitcom. Now he's missed the theatrical profession.
Indeed. At a lovely rainforest lodge in Borneo, after a small engined canoe trip,
Wow, I love this. Is like
good, isn't it?
God,
It's all got a bit African Queen.
It's like Heart of Darkness.
Yeah.
i.e. not the easiest place to sneak away from, that's what he's pointing out. I saw a price list for room items and accessories which beats them all.
Oh,
Slippers, check. Bathrobes, check. Bed sheets, also available. And then... air conditioning unit, only £200. I didn't inquire further. It may have needed a separate compressor. I wanted to ask my wife,
I must
but she
admit
didn't
I hadn't
let me.
thought of that.
Might not have been a bad price for what looked in great condition.
Oh.
I spent the next day wondering how it would be handed over and whether they had a supply of new in-box ones in a back room somewhere, or if a handyman would come along and remove it from the wall before it was wrapped in brown paper and string. Liam, prisoner 022.
I believe it's called MIB, isn't it?
MIB?
Mint in Box.
Mint in Box, right. Going for the eBay version of this.
Whatever happened to my... I bought an acre of rainforest.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
It was... I got a certificate to say
Was it on your fridge like all the other ones you
to
bought?
say that I own it.
Who was that child you adopted, Frank?
Rainforest.
You adopted
Oh,
a
yes, I
child?
adopted an African. So that was a bit of a...
What was his name again?
Go so well. He was called... Well, he might be listening.
Oh, okay. You have mentioned it before on the show.
Okay,
so.
he's called Agreement Phineas. But I didn't keep
That
up
is
my...
genuinely true.
I didn't keep up my payments very well. There were more difficult times for me than I was... I lived a more hedonistic life, and I forsook him. And he sent me some photos and all that, of him in the African village, and I sent the money. I suppose I kept it going for about 14, 15 months, and then
That's
I
good.
just drifted away. It's not good. I'm not proud of it. Okay.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Still in the corner.
Oh, we're very much in the Muller. Good morning. Given that at least 2 of you are performing in Edinburgh this August, rub it in, why don't you?
Well, you could unleash your fantastically titled show that someone suggested, Dean There Done That.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't. Sadly, there's one of the promoters have passed on it.
Oh.
I don't know why.
What about Oh No You Didn't?
Oh.
No, maybe not.
It's a bit just sweet.
Well, let's not...
See, nobody can
like
make it quite as creepy as you can.
They laughed at Christopher Columbus when he said the world was
Yeah,
round.
that's because he wore awful clothes.
Oh.
Anyway.
I thought they were all right in context.
Okay.
They all laughed at when Edison recorded sound.
Mm-hmm.
Carry on.
As Mike in Edinburgh was saying,
Mike in Edinburgh, okay.
all of you have a professed love of a finely worked pun, and you're performing in Edinburgh.
Can't deny it.
Could you give me your thoughts on the following? I've been flicking through this year's Edinburgh Festival Fringe brochure. Slow week.
Mm-hmm.
One of the unavoidable games that you get dragged into on reading the brochure is who's incorporated the best pun into their show title,
Okay.
judging whether it's a well-crafted pun or an unnecessary crowbarred pun.
Mm-hmm.
This made me wonder if in the past either Alun or Frank has used a pun tour or show title in the past, and what it was. I note that neither of your shows this year do so, but this has not put me off booking both.
Oh, that's nice.
That's fabulous. It's him, is it?
Yeah. I got a sales report this week as well that mentioned him.
Mention him by name, his address and everything. In case I wanted to send a personal thank you.
I find it hard to believe that between the both of you, there aren't at least a couple.
Yeah, I've never really named a tour until
What do you
my
call
current
it, Frank
one.
Skinner?
I just call it, Frank Skinner
Albinia.
Live.
Oh.
That's what I used
see.
to call it. Not much of a pun, is it?
I've had
about you?
tour titles, but no puns, because I just don't think my name, Alan Cochrane, lends itself to... And a lot of people in this year's Fringe programme have used their name. There's someone called Romesh that has got a show called Rom Wasn't Built in a Day.
Oh, that's quite good.
I can't remember the others now, but there's loads of name puns. Tim Vine is excellent. He's gone
he
for
likes a
Tim
pun.
Timony, Tim Timony, Tim Timony,
Right.
which I think takes it and
I
raises
tell you,
it.
all that would put me off is if I was texting a friend saying, shall we go and see?
Tim Timony,
I don't think I could be bothered.
too many characters.
But I think
Yeah.
you'd say Tim Vine, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So you can see Tim Vine show.
But my name doesn't really lend itself to... What I was thinking of doing is having a pose where I look like Macaulay Culkin and calling the show Home Alun. You know, like that.
That's good. That's good. I think you'd
No,
be
but you
quite a
That's
good
all right,
Macaulay
is it?
Culkin as well.
Yeah.
Also, with the spellings, you could get away with Home Alun.
Home Alun.
Yeah.
You'd have to pronounce it. You'd have to say to the people selling the tickets, please, could you pronounce it Home Alun?
And the only other
That'd
time...
be worth it.
The
Yeah.
only other
Maybe
time
you
my
could get
name was...
sponsored by Joe Malone.
Yes.
I'm not sure, with the greatest respect,
Yeah.
she'd be that interested in sponsoring Alan's Edinburgh show.
You're suggesting...
Well, it's
She's
about
a
time.
perfumier. I just don't think the brand
smell lovely.
association...
I love
smell
that
really
she's a
nice.
perfumier. That's something you don't often hear. She's a perfumier.
in an angry tone of voice.
Okay. I like Home Alun. I think you should, on a
All right.
serious,
No,
you should
Frank,
think about that.
Maybe
You're
next
pronouncing
year.
it wrong. It's got to be Home Alun.
Home Alun. Yeah, I'm
Not sure it does.
It does.
I'm just relaxing at the moment. If I make a formal announcement about it, I'll say Home Alun.
Don't sound
Home Alun.
Arabic.
Suddenly, the name Alan, when you put the U in it, gets weird when you've said it about 4 times.
It does. The only other time my name has remotely worked for a pun was when I was a kid and Socrates scored a great goal for Brazil. And you remember there was like the commentary of goal! for
yeah.
Socrates! When I was playing the next day and the next few weeks, I would score a goal in the playground and then run around going, "Goal for Socrates!" That worked.
That's not your name, though.
But it doesn't really work.
It's near enough, isn't it? Picky about it. It's a good try. He's at school, for goodness sake. You can see why he went back to school this week, to relive that moment.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
And we still,
Oh, I'm still in the corner.
yeah.
But I
Yeah,
tell
we'll
you
talk
what, we
about
didn't
her.
finish Mike in Edinburgh's email.
Can I, before we, I had a T-shirt which I got especially made for Room 101. I don't think it made the cut in the end. I guess I never thought it would. We were talking about someone wanted to put in slogan T-shirts. I think it was Josh Widdicombe. You know, T-shirts with slogans on here. So I had a T-shirt made that said slogan
Right.
on the front of it, which I quite liked anyway as an idea.
Yeah.
On the back of it, I had a picture of the 1960s wrestling bad boy, Steve Logan. So it was S. Logan on the back.
Lovely.
Oh,
How many
yeah.
people do you think would have got that? Apart if I was out on the street.
Oh,
No one's mentioned it yet. I've worn it a couple of times.
about
Really?
0.5% of the population.
Well, if anyone mentions it, I'll obviously I've given the game away now.
Oh,
but
yeah.
that'll be 4 people who listen doing it. Did you say you had an addendum?
Yeah, he did. Mike in Edinburgh says, on a punning note, I drove along the M8 motorway between Glasgow and Edinburgh a couple of weekends ago, behind a van of a bathroom fitting company, the brilliantly named Bonnie Tyler.
That's
To
excellent.
To date, that is my favourite pun of the year. Finally, thanks to Emily, Alan and Steve for the suit advice on the show a couple of months ago. I actually got that job, so I'm doubly grateful. There you go.
I think our advice was get one that fits. It's not that complicated, is
Yeah.
it, really, as advice
Yeah.
goes?
No, but you often see people who've got that wrong.
Oh, do you ever?
Anyway, let's not even go there.
Let's not dwell on
Have we
it.
got time for another email, do you think, Days? What do you think? No,
No.
Days is saying, no, I'm not interested. Forget about it.
Yeah. She's looking a bit bored into the middle distance.
She
That
is.
catalogue pose.
She's got the same expression that I had during at to the O2 this week.
Oh, so glad I didn't see that.
Yeah, when I said I loved the show. It was brilliant. If you get a ticket for Monty Python, go. Just accept that the kangaroo. We all make mistakes. Simple as that.
Yeah, he'll bounce back.
I mean, it's absolute. I feel like I want to get him in again for that one, but that was excellent. I'm not going to try and top that. You know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.